Broadcasting from the KMF Collective Studio, it's time for the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. This limited release show features the stories of the 2020 contestants of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's athletic competition, NBC's The Titan Games. Now, here's your host, Katie Galley.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. I'm your host, Katie Galley. In the KMF Collective Studio with me today, I have Titan Games athlete and founder of Iron Grace Fitness, Courtney Roselle. How are you doing, Courtney?
I'm doing good today, Katie. How are you?
I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your story with us today.
Of course. No, I'm super thankful for this journey and you considering talking to me, and thankful for everybody listening, of course. So
yeah, absolutely. And I know we're going to learn so much. I mean, I know you're an incredible person, entrepreneur, athlete. So I'm super excited to dive in, Courtney, and just to kind of get the ball rolling, get to know your background a little bit. I wonder, where did you grow up and how, if at all, was your childhood shaped by athletics?
So I am from New Jersey. I'm from North New Jersey. If you could tell by my heavy accent when I say certain things,
oh,
you will
yeah.
catch
Love
you
it.
will catch that throughout the podcast. I say coffee, I say Mira, I say it all.
Yep.
Yeah, so I am a heavy born and raised in Jersey. I am from Cedar Grove, New Jersey, but I currently live in Jersey City, which is actually like right across the water from New York City. So I can see the skyline of New York, which is absolutely beautiful,
Wow.
Right outside my condo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, athletics has been a part of my entire life. I mean, I have 4 older brothers and a sister. My whole family grew up in athletics, and it shaped me for who I am today. I mean, I grew up a super tomboy, actually, which is a lot of part of my story of trying to find out who I am exactly, of being a feminine tomboy and trying to be pushed into a box of either being feminine or being tomboyish. But, I grew into myself of just being a female athlete and being respected as a female athlete. And it tells a lot about my story growing up in sports. And literally, it shaped me for exactly who I am today. And I wouldn't take it back for any means whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I mean, seeking your identity and knowing, of course, it's more than who you are on the court, on the field, but athletics can really help you discover that and find out who you are at your core. And so, Courtney, for you, was there a sport growing up that you really took to, that you started to focus in on, or was it really just all manner of sports and fitness that you loved?
I mean, growing up, I played every sport possible to the point that I wanted to play football so bad. And my parents were like, "No, you're gonna be a cheerleader." But
man.
I wanted to play every sport possible, which was amazing. But I ended up going to school for basketball. So I went to high school for basketball, and I went to college at University of Scranton for basketball. If you ever met me in person, I'm 5'10". I'm like 160 pounds, so I'm like a bigger, aggressive athlete. And being tall in a sport of basketball, that's something you can't teach, so that's what I was recruited for.
Yeah. And of course, you kind of fell into that, having that body style, but then too, having that aptitude. So being able to walk through that door and go down that path of really diving into basketball. And so then, Courtney, for you, coming up on high school and then into college, once upon graduation, did you have aspirations to continue your basketball career or continue down another athletic avenue, or did your athletic journey kind of come to a close after that?
No, truthfully, I mean, like athletics was part of my identity growing up. Always, yeah. I was known. If you knew me, you knew I played sports. Like that was it. It was like peanut butter and jelly. That's it. That's what I was known for. So when I came out of college, I was a little bit lost in the fitness arena, but everybody told me that I'm supposed to live out this American dream of having this like 9-to-5 job. Go into the corporate world, you get married at a certain age, you have kids at a certain age, and I totally, instead of going to the right, I ended up going to the left. So I ended up going to corporate world, and then, I was losing that competition fire that I had in my soul. So my brother took me to a CrossFit gym about a year or 2 out of the college world. So I was in the corporate world officially. He brought me to CrossFit, and I fell in love right off the bat, because if you walk into a CrossFit box, you can make it in a competitive athlete arena, or you can make it just a fitness world. And it brought out my competitive fire all over again. And I was like, I'm right back in this. I love fitness so much. So CrossFit was definitely the best thing that happened to me.
I love that. And I think that's Truly, that's a kind of a tale that you hear a lot when people discover CrossFit, especially if you're a former athlete, really kind of reinvigorating that competitive drive within yourself. Like you said, you can compete with yourself and with everybody in your class every single day. And it's such a really unique, fun thing that you can do with CrossFit.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like the best thing about CrossFit too, again, growing up as a feminine tomboy for the first time in my life, I didn't have to define myself as either feminine or, masculine. I just defined myself as strong and as a good athlete, in the college world. And it's crazy to look at, or in high school sports, you're a woman athlete or you're a male athlete. In this arena, and especially when you grow up in it, you're just known as either being fit and strong or not fit and strong. And that was like the coolest neutralizer I discovered, and that's when I really started to define myself. Again, I walk into my gym and no guy is like, she's strong for a girl. They're like, she's just strong. And it's a really, really cool, almost empowering role to take on when you walk into my fitness arena.
Mm-hmm. I really love that perspective because it's true. I mean, it's not having that kind of title of strong for a girl. It's just you're a strong individual. You're just an athlete in general. And so, Courtney, for you then, once you found that first CrossFit box and you just fell in love with it, from there, how did that start to shape your journey? Did you dive all in, start coaching, and really kind of make that career shift then, or what happened?
Truthfully, I started to go to my corporate world. I was like doing it for like a year and a half, and I started to really just love like going to the gym every single day. I would stay after and work on like extra stuff all the time, and I started to be at the gym more and more and more lately. I started to be at work a lot less. And if you like were raised in my life, again, I have 4 brothers and a sister. My parents are separated, so I grew up in a world where my mom was forced to go to a corporate job because she had just put, food on the table, and she had to make money for me and my brother. And I was put into a role where I had the gift of doing something I love and making money off of it, and not having those restrictions of, raising kids or, having a husband I had to support for. So being by myself, I thought if my mom could give me this gift of sacrificing her life for me to make a better life for myself, I need to grab onto that. So, and I left the corporate world and decided to start my own company, Iron and Grace, just off the sheer fact of being raised blue collar, being raised that hard work pays off, and being raised that my mom sacrificed so much for me that I need to start being happy, healthy, and, do the American dream that everybody wishes they do, right? And that's working and loving what you work for and loving what you do.
Man, I love that. I love that so much. I mean, having the opportunity to do that, to strike out on your own and start your own business, knowing that you were given this opportunity, so making absolutely the most of it that you possibly could. And so, Courtney, what is Iron Grace Fitness? How did it come about? Is it its own CrossFit gym, or is it, what is it?
It's my own personal brand, truthfully, and what I strive off to be. I do a couple things with it. I do motivational speaking with it. So I go to schools or gatherings, mostly with women, young girls, and talk about body positivity and how I got to where I am, and, how you need to be authentic and empowering to find yourself. And, that's the most important journey to take. I also create my own clothing. So I've created some sweatshirts and some tanks, and in the process of actually creating a kids line, because I have a very big Italian family. And I want to be I want kids to wear my clothing as like their Superman capes, of identifying to be strong, and, flex in my t-shirts and flex in my sweatshirts, and grow up in that lifestyle of, you can be anything that you want to be. And then my main money maker is, I am a personal trainer and a group fitness trainer. So my motto always is for people to discover their strength physically, to discover their inner strength within themselves, to bring out the best version of themselves. So that's my main focus, is strength training. And I'm telling you, if you strength train, you will definitely find the best version of yourself. So that's my main goal.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and it's kind of finding that confidence within yourself with strength training. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a thing that it's a different kind of confidence that you get from doing strength training versus any other kind of fitness.
Yeah, I mean, it brings out strength training. If you do it correctly and you do it with the right trainer, it breaks you down in the best way to only rebuild yourself to be the best version of yourself. And that's the best way to explain it, because if you can conquer that in the day of whatever your session is, a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and you can accomplish that, I'm not even kidding. When you walk into a meeting, when you walk into a corporate room, when you walk into a room, that's the hardest part of your day. Everything else flows easily. And that's what I always try to stress to my clients, to, again, be the best version of yourself. And the reason, I know you asked it before, the meaning behind iron and grace is with iron, again, bringing back masculinity and femininity. Iron is strong. Iron is a barbell. Grace is your feminine side. And in order for you to pick up a barbell and do certain movements like a clean or a snatch, you have to be strong, but you have to be graceful. It almost has to look like poetry in motion. So that's the reason I came up with iron grace. Everybody, male, female, doesn't matter who you are in this arena or world, but you have a masculine side and you have a feminine side, and you shouldn't have to identify it.
I love that. I mean, it really paints a beautiful picture, the combination of iron and grace, and then being able to, it's your own personal brand. And like you said, it's something that you've lived your whole life, and then being able to put it out there to help and inspire other people through motivational speaking and coaching and online and in person, and your clothing brand too. I mean, that's just, it's a really amazing thing to have all these different verticals in pursuit of that iron grace brand.
Yeah. I always want to trace it back to like the passion. And again, like everybody has iron and grace in them. Every single human being on this earth has iron and grace in them. And if you truly grasp it and truly find that inner self of your iron and grace, the best version of yourself will always be out on the table. And that's all everybody wants in this world, is authenticity. And when you are authentic, you connect with people. And that's what the Titan Games show was all about. I mean, when you watch the show, you will connect with all the contestants, or you'll connect with a certain contestant. And the producers of the show did a very, very, very good job of casting, because you can connect to a story and fall in love with that person. And everybody has a different story to bring out. But again, everybody's so authentic to themselves, and that's what brings in the passion in the crowd.
I love that. I really do. And so, Courtney, in that vein then, for you, how did you become a contestant on this season of the Titan Games?
Oh, man. How did I become a contestant? So, long story short, I also was, I went for WWE Diva tryouts earlier that year in March.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yes. And in my tryouts was last year's contestant was Emily. She was last year's contestant.
Okay.
Azulis, and Lauren Hunter. Lauren Hunter was also last year's contestant, and they were both in my tryouts. And they met me, and they were like, "Why are you not going out for the Titan Games?" And I was like, "Titan Games? Like, what are you talking about?" And they were like, "They would love you. You need to go. Like, the producers will love you. You're a strong female. You can speak to people. You're super empowering. Like, I'm telling you, go for it." So they talked to a couple of their contestants, but then I was like, I'm going to go put in an application in. So I put in an application, and the producers got back to me, and they're like, "You're exactly what we're looking for." I was like, I came from WWD Diva. I know Lauren. I know Emily. They were super sweet. And they're like, "We do too." So it kind of, the connection came. Couple interviews later, they were like, "Come to the combine." So we went out to LA, whoever they called back. And we competed athletically. We competed in front of a camera. So we would do an event, and then we'd speak to our cameras and be like, "Tell us about yourselves." And they would see how you interact with people, how you connect with people in the arena, how you connect with cameras. So that's exactly what they did. And then a week later, they called us, and they were like, "Get your butt down to Atlanta, like right now." I mean, and it was funny. The producer called me, and the casting director called me. I'm sorry. His name is Peter. And he totally joked around with me. And he was like, "Just to let you know, I always have to make these calls. I don't like making these calls." So I automatically thought I got rejected. But he was like, "That's not you. So pack your bag and get to Atlanta." And I started freaking out, and I started crying. And that's exactly how it happened. It was like a crazy series of events that if I never went to WWE tryouts, I would have never gotten to the Titan Games. So Weird experience, but everything connects for a reason.
Absolutely. I love that, because it's true. I mean, you were maybe not even aware of what the Titan Games were, but you met the people you were supposed to meet. And then too, you had to decide whether or not you were going to walk through that door of opportunity. Were you even going to apply and see what was going to come of it? I mean, that's, I think, a big piece in everyone's story. It's, you can have these opportunities, but it's up to you if you're going to walk through that door.
Yeah, so a lot of people always have this question, like, why are you doing this, right? Like, why
Yeah.
did you go to Titan Games? Are you looking for the fame? Are you looking for the fame? I'm like, it's not about the fame, people, because if you know, especially the people from the Titan Games, and you'll meet the cast along, and they're all beautiful souls, but everybody's doing it to open up a door of opportunity for themselves or the people they want to support. So for me, I want to open up an opportunity that's never happened to me before and get my story out there. Again, for someone maybe to hear it and be like, wow, I can't believe she went through what I went through. Or to open up doors for people that I love, because I always want to pay it forward and give back to the people that had my back. So again, if I can do that and talk to the crowd or talk to videos and give back in any way possible, I'm going to absolutely do it. It's not just about the fame. It's about, again, opportunity is at the door. Are you going to open the door, or are you going to leave it closed? That's it.
Right. Yep, you're absolutely right. I love that, Courtney. And too, like you said, it's about pursuing that passion, but it's how am I going to progress my platform, the voice I have, and like for you, that combination of iron and grace, and putting out your own brand because it's in pursuit of helping other people. And so now being able to be on the Titan Games, that's going to amplify that by so much. And it's again in pursuit of your platform to help other people, and that's how it's going to help it grow.
Yeah, and some people, and it's okay to say it, like some people are scared to take that next step, and some people are scared to open that door. So if I'm able to open that door for someone else to walk in behind me and have the same confidence, like that's another win at the end of the day, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
So
yeah, no, absolutely. And so Courtney, leading up to the Titan Games, I think this is always kind of a fun thing to think on, but of course, The Rock is instrumental. It's his show, and you being, a WWE diva going to those tryouts too. So I imagine wrestling was something, on your sites. But I wonder, do you remember the first time you became aware of who The Rock was, and maybe why or how he inspired you?
Oh, The Rock, man. There's not enough, I will say this, there's not enough good things to say about him. Like, seriously, he is humble. He is kind. He is super authentic. He's exactly what everybody, the media says about him. I don't think they say one bad thing about him, and that's truly who he is. He truly cares about the show. He truly cares about the contestants, and he cares about your story and making sure that everybody hears it. He really does bring real life superheroes to the stage and makes a platform for them, for people, again, to open up doors of opportunities they never thought possible. So I will say that about him. I have a couple interviews with him on camera, and he was awesome to be on camera with. And he's awesome to hug, too. He gives out great hugs.
I bet.
He gives out great hugs. And again, I'm 5'10", so I fit like perfectly into his nook, which was the most important thing. I was like, oh my God.
It's the most important.
Yeah, because I don't meet that many guys that are that much bigger than me. So I was like, this is great. But the best, most inspiring thing about The Rock was not just because he became The Rock and became WWE. Like, WWE did not define him. He decided to go open his own doors and go through his own paths and, take on acting, take on anything, movies, TV shows, you name it, he did it. He took on his own tequila. Like, he didn't let WWE, he didn't fall into that aspect of only being The Rock and only being WWE. He was like, no, that's just a part of me. That's just a part of me. And I think everybody needs to recognize in that world. And he didn't care what anybody else thought about him. He didn't let a role play out his life. He let life just come into his hands, and he let it just play out himself. So I loved that about him. And I think that's the most inspiring thing about him.
Yeah. No, I love that too. And it's kind of it's reflective of your own journey too, right? Growing up in the world of athletics and then finding basketball and then realizing you wanted to use the platform of sports and go beyond and learn your new identity and who you are beyond the world of sports. And then too, in that, finding a way to empower other people, starting your own business. And so it's amazing. You look up to people and then you start to mirror the lives that they lead because they inspire you so much.
Yeah, I absolutely think that. And I think the people need to stop letting the world define them. They define the world. So that's like what The Rock did. He didn't let the WWE define him. That's only the thing that he can do. No, he was like, I'm going to go out and define the world for itself and let people see what I can do. And then they can have their own assumptions about me. And I think that's the most amazing thing, that people need to stop caring. The only opinion that matters is yourself. And that's truly it. And then everybody else will hold on to that and connect with that. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Courtney. And so now, Courtney, coming off the back end of the show and having this incredible experience, I wonder, what would you say is your definition of a Titan?
My definition of a Titan. Oof. God, there's such a broad question. The definition of a Titan to me is just a real life superhero, an everyday superhero that can give back to this world and show, I'm trying to think of the best words, show the strongest version of themselves for some people to attach to. Again, you are going to meet doctors that are on the show, Army vets who are amazing human beings that give back every single day that I can't even imagine. You're going to meet fitness trainers. You're going to meet an opera singer. I hope you get to talk to him. His name is Mike. He's really awesome.
He's actually was episode 1 of the podcast this
season.
He
was? Yeah. You're going to meet school teachers, the Titans, but every single one of them has something in common, that they define strength in their own words, and they are authentic in their own words, but yet they always give back. Every single contestant on the show in their own way, from teachers to Army vets to fitness trainers to opera singers, give back in their own way to platform other people. And I think that's the real definition of a Titan. Mm-hmm. So when you go to the Titan Games show, the greatest thing about it was they didn't book me. Yes, they booked me for my athleticism, but that was the lowest on the totem pole. So the lowest on the totem pole was my athleticism. Then it came off of how I carry myself. And then it came off of how my story can connect to other people. And I think that's the tier of being a Titan in the greatest form.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that was so beautifully said. It's not at all about what you were doing to promote yourself or push yourself past. It's what are you doing in your own life to help promote others and lift up each other, or lift others up. And I love that, like you said, the Titans, that's a circle of people doing exactly that.
Yes, exactly. And then you'll see our athleticism. So
of course. And that's obviously amazing to see. And so, Courtney, you've accomplished so much in your life, and it's incredible to see. I love it. You're an athlete, entrepreneur. You pushed past that kind of identity loss and rediscovered yourself, knowing your value, knowing your importance, and looking forward, of course, knowing that you're going to still accomplish all the goals that you have left on your heart. I just have one final question that I ask all of my interviewees. What do you want to be remembered for?
What do I want to be remembered for? Wow. You're coming in hot. You're coming in hot, and I like it.
Glad.
Yeah, I like it. No. What I want to be remembered for, I mean, God, that's such a loaded question in my head. What I want to be remembered for is, on the show, you're talking about in life, because then there's two different answers.
No, Courtney. What is Courtney in your life want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for having the richest soul that anybody has ever come across. So when I define rich in life, I never define money. I define it by passion and soul. So I always want to be the richest in anything, meaning when I walk into a room and I'm the richest soul, I can connect with the most people in the room. I have the biggest smile. I give back in any way possible, and you remember me for that. And that's all I ever want in life. And I want to make sure that I spend it with people that I love the most as much as I can. And that's it. That's, to me, that's rich. That's all I can ever be defined for.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's installment of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. To learn more about each of these Titan athletes, be sure to check out their information in the links in my show notes. Furthermore, to stay up to date on all things coming out of the KMF Collective, be sure to subscribe to the Keep Moving Forward YouTube channel and follow along on social media, also available in the show notes. As the creator of the Titan Games, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, "Titans aren't born, they're made." And I hope today's story helped you realize all that you are capable of becoming if you put in that hard work and just keep moving forward.